Hello students, welcome back. Today we will be learning another new chapter from your geography section entitled Water from Unit 5. So let us proceed with the class and find out more about this unit. The subtopics that we'll be learning from this chapter are firstly, global availability of water, second, water cycle in nature, third, water conservation, fourth, ocean water, and lastly we have movement of water, under which we will be discussing about wave, tsunamis, ocean currents, and lastly, tides. Let me start the class by asking a question. Can you imagine a day without water? What if the taps run dry and there is not a single drop of water? Or if the lakes dry up, how would we carry our daily activities without water? Water cannot be replaced and is essential for the existence of all life forms on Earth. The presence of water makes Earth a unique planet. It also connects living organisms in an ecosystem. Water is essential for numerous human activities and for the development of the nation. The most essential purpose of water is for drinking. Safe drinking water and basic sanitation can prevent water-related diseases. Diarrhea, which kills 1.6 million people annually in a year, is mainly caused by drinking impure water. Improved water supply can reduce mortality rate by 20%, while improved sanitation cuts it by 37.5%. Here, mortality rate meaning death, especially on a large scale, when a lot of people dies because of a certain cause, here being by drinking impure water. Moving on to the next subtopic, global availability of water. The Earth is called a blue planet because most of the Earth's surface is covered with water. What is it that makes it so precious and a highly valued gift of nature? Besides drinking alone, water is used for washing, cleaning, and cooking. Water is used to irrigate crops and lawns. Water is also very essential because most industries need water to operate. Moving on to the next subtopic, water cycle in nature. Now, what is water cycle? The movement of water from the hydrosphere to the atmosphere and then to the lithosphere and biosphere and back to the hydrosphere is known as the water cycle. In simple terms, the movement of water from the water that goes up to the air from the wind and then it falls in terms of water or snow to the earth, and from the earth as it goes down the soil it goes back to the water. So the cycle that it carries out is what we understand as the water cycle. Rain is the primary source of fresh water. It feeds rivers, lakes, and groundwater resources, which are secondary sources of water. The journey of water starts as it evaporates from the saline oceans and seas and enters the atmosphere as vapor to form clouds. Clouds then cool, condense, and finally precipitate in the form of rain, hail, or snow over the land. This natural process brings to us the fresh or sweet water that brings life to the earth. Next subtopic we have now is water conservation. Now, what are the steps through which we can conserve water? Firstly, practice rainwater harvesting. Collect the rain when it rains and use the water for your own daily purposes. Fix Leaky taps and don't let them run when not in use. Avoid usage of water at home. Cut off the water supply to any areas in the home that is not in use. Use rainwater to water the plants in the house. Never throw water away. Use it for some other purpose out of the water that has been used. Spread awareness to people about how they can conserve water. Tell them about the importance of water and how we must practice all the small little things through which we can conserve water. Moving on to the next topic, ocean water. Oceans make up 71% of the Earth's surface and are connected to each other. Oceanic waters are interspersed with many smaller marine bodies like sea, gulfs, and bays. Next subtopic, movement of water. Firstly, we have waves. Waves are formed when energy is transferred from molecule to molecule across the surface of the ocean. It is the energy that actually moves and not the molecules. Now, let us watch the short video through which you will understand the movement of water in waves, and you will have a more better visual understanding.
The energy in a wave actually comes from the wind. More than 70% of the Earth's surface is covered in water. And when wind blows over the surface of that water, it causes friction. That pushes some parts of the water down, and in turn other areas are pushed up. These areas of water then start spinning in a circle, and that's the beginning of a wave. And the more wind, the bigger those waves can get. But it's only when waves get closer to land that the spinning effect bobs us up and down on the surface, and eventually causes waves to crash on the sand.
Next we have tsunamis. As you can see here in the picture, the area where the fault line is, that's where earthquakes and volcanic activities take place deep down in the ocean floor. This gives rise to gigantic waves, and these are what we understand as tsunamis. The rise is so huge which travels at a great speed and can cause dangerous and destructive waves. They cause large-scale damage when they hit coastal regions. Coastal region meaning the areas which are close to the water bodies. Moving on to another topic, ocean currents. What are ocean currents? Ocean currents are like large rivers flowing within the ocean from one place to another. They move in a clockwise direction in northern hemisphere and in an anti-clockwise direction in southern hemisphere. This is because the earth is spherical in shape and rotates eastward. This makes water and winds deflect to the right in northern hemisphere and to the left in southern hemisphere. This is known as the Coriolis effect. There are certain factors that cause and influence the direction of ocean currents. Firstly, the difference in temperature, the difference in salinity, and the Earth's rotation. The shapes of coastline and the planetary winds are also the major factors which influence the direction of the ocean currents. The next subtopic, warm and cold currents. Ocean currents that move from the equator to the poles are warm ocean currents, whereas ocean currents that move from the poles to the equator are cold ocean currents. Example of warm ocean current is the Gulf Stream, which washes the shores of the Gulf of Mexico. An example of cold ocean current is the cold Peruvian current, which washes the western shores of South America. Warm ocean currents are light and flow along the surface of oceans. They move about 40% of the heat from the equator to the poles. They modify the temperature of places they flow close to. When wind blows across warm currents, their temperature increases. This enables them to absorb huge amount of moisture when they shed as they blow across. Whereas cold ocean currents are dense and flow below the surface of oceans. They reduce the air temperature of places they flow close to. Coastal deserts form in this manner. The Atacama Desert in South America is one such example. Places where warm and cold currents meet create ideal conditions for fish to breed into huge populations, thereby causing valuable fishing grounds to develop. Ships that sail along the ocean currents get the advantage of moving faster, thereby saving time, money, and fuel. Tides. The periodic rise and fall of the sea level, usually twice a day in a particular place, is known as tide. Tides are caused by the gravitational pull of the moon and the sun and the earth's rotation. When the gravity of the moon pulls the earth at a particular location, high tide occurs. When it releases its pull, the water level comes down and low tide occurs. Exceptionally, high tides are caused during the full moon and new moon days. Such tides are called spring tides. On the other hand, when the moon is in its first and last quarter, exceptionally low tides occur. These are called neap tides. Importance of tides. Tides have great commercial importance, especially for fishing and shipping industry. Fishing boats are also subject to the rise and fall of tidal waters. Heavy freighters can enter shallow ports only at high tide when the water is deepest. Freighters means a large ship for carrying goods. Tidal energy, which can be harnessed during high tide, is an eco-friendly source of energy which never gets exhausted. Tidal power or tidal energy is harnessed by converting energy from tides into useful forms of power, mainly electricity, using various methods. Although not yet widely used, tidal energy has the potential for future electricity generation. Tides are more predictable than the wind and the sun. With this, we come to an end for this particular chapter. Please be thorough with this and contact for any queries. Thank you for watching and stay safe.